What's up, folks? Once again, we are joined by the amazing Keith Grachow from My Sketchy Goodness. Keith, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Wired, feeling
Yep.
good. Got my Thai iced tea. I am physically exhausted from a long day at work and ready for the absolute chillest time with you. Although potentially not, given what you might be drawing today. Yeah, Keith. Just to start off with, because we haven't done this in a long time. Keith, for those who may be either tuning into our stream for the first time ever, perhaps they're catching this as a social clip, who knows? But for the folks out there who've never seen your face, never heard your name, who are you?
Okay. I am a comic book creator, teacher. I illustrate, I write. I collaborate with a bunch of different writers and have a bunch of different comic book and graphic novel projects on the go. I go to different shows all throughout Canada and United States. Well,
Yeah.
locally Ontario, and then all over the United States. And then I guess now podcaster, right?
Yes.
For a couple of years now.
Actually, 100%. Yeah, that is definitely among your many the hats you wear. Also, I do want to mention, I think, other than like the folks who work for like the big five companies, I'll say. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's get what you're drawing up on screen here. Other than folks who do work for like the big five companies, I think that I have personally seen, I think you travel the most for cons and attend the most cons. I know there's a couple other indie folks who are out there frequently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're one of like the most hardworking and diligent people about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry, I feel like I got something on my teeth here. Corn from earlier.
I hate that feeling.
But I picked that up. I mean, for sure, I put in quite a bit of time doing shows and book signings and things like that. I know that there's some other creators out there that the group of seven, they're out there all over the place.
Yeah.
Mike Ruth, Becca Kinsey, like I see they do a bunch of stuff too. So I like to think that I try to get out there enough so that people can find me, especially for people. So one of the things that I decided a while back was I don't really sell any of my stuff online. I find that the amount of time and effort that it takes me to do it, that mental hassle of it, like it takes me out of what I'm trying to achieve for the day, of like having to mail, to prepare and mail something out, with the exception of commissions, but I'm talking like books and stuff. I just don't, it's not something I want to do. So I tell people when they see me at shows, they're like, "Oh, where can I get your books?" And I'm like, "Well, mainly from here." Like I do leave books at shops that I go to, so you can find it at, like, let's say some of my books at Wayside Comics, Comic One Books, Nerdcore. I think I have books at a couple of other places throughout the GTA. But for the most part, for me, I get the most out of being able to interact with people, and having them get books for me directly is just, it's much more rewarding. It's much more worth it than maybe a couple of sales I'll make if I sell to somebody that that's not in front of me, right? So that's my reasoning for trying to make it easy for people to find me. If for whatever reason, let's say they don't have any more money after, they spent on other things, and they're like, oh, I'd like to get some, but I just don't have the money right now. I'm like, great, well, I'll be at this show and you can follow me, and therefore if you wanted to pick up the book, you can do that. And oftentimes that's what happens. People go, I was meaning to get the book, and then I just decided I'll just get it at this show, right? So it's one of those things where I find that I get the most out of it when I do it that way. And so I do try to make myself available. And then I also try to do any shows that I do like outside of this area. I try to do those same shows on a weekly basis, so that I build up that fan base there, so they know that if they're either waiting for the next books I'm coming out with, or they weren't able to get something that time, they can get it the next time.
Awesome. Keith, that is some serious dedication, and I love it. Also, our good friend Paul Kemp.
Hey, Paul.
Good evening, gentlemen. Great to see you both. Thank you for doing another sketchy show. Looking forward to seeing the awesome artwork. Indeed. So speaking of the artwork, Keith, what has inspired this particular very fuzzy looking piece?
I started watching Nosferatu, so I'm actually probably just going to draw like busts and stuff. That was what I was doing while I was watching the show. I just love any period stuff, so I like to like get a sketchbook out and just take something that I just literally like picked up a pen that was like right on my desk, and I didn't know whether it was going to work well or not. And I'm like, well, let's just see how this works on a sketchbook. And so I started using that to do some very quick drawings of the people that are from this like 1830s German, area. So I just love like any of that kind of period stuff that has really ornate hairstyles and clothing that we're not familiar with, right? The way that they wear stuff, and the way that they put their hair up and stuff like that. So so I'm just trying to draw as much as I can remember from what I was watching.
Love it.
Yeah.
So one, I did want to mention, we are actually now successfully live on Instagram. I've gotten that functioning, so we are live there, which is great. And Kevin Manklow has joined us in that channel. What I guess my question for you is, I happen to, while I am not a horror person, I absolutely love Dracula. The stories around the actual person, Vlad Tepes, but also the myth of vampirism, all of that. More so that stuff. So I guess, like you said, you started watching Nosferatu. Are you a big, would you say, like Dracula fan, Bram Stoker, that kind of stuff? In general,
like the book was kind of boring. If I had to be honest, wasn't really that exciting. The movies from the 30s, there's something about, just the way that they with the limited technology they had, using lighting and things like that. So, with Bela Lugosi and stuff, his iconic Dracula. I mean, yeah, I guess I'm a fan in the sense that like I like the idea of there's this romantic kind of quality of like with the horror element to it. I don't know if I'm like particularly like, okay, vampires are my favorite. I like horror movies, a well done horror movie. Like I just saw The Wolfman, the one that was done this year, which was excellent.
Right on.
That was the same director, Lee something, can't remember their last name, that did The Invisible Man, which was excellent. They're kind of the spin on the Universal monsters, the take on like like not making it as much like about like a creature as much as like what our inner demons, our inner monsters are like, when they come
Yeah.
out. And so I that to me was really a great take on the old movies, which I mean, again, that's kind of, if you've read the books, if you've ever read any of like, Bram Stoker's Dracula or Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or Invisible Man, right? Any of these books, these creatures are human beings that are
Hmm.
just kind of twisted. They're not as much like what we imagine, what they became in like the 30s and then the 60s and 70s with the Hammer films, and then how we've kind of made them
Oh
much
yeah.
more like evil and devious looking, right? Like they all were more of their time, and so I always think it's interesting, like with those recent movies that Universal's doing, they're kind of using that more as inspiration.
Mm.
I haven't seen Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein yet.
Oh yeah, that's
So
gonna be good.
has it come out? I think it's come out, right? Hasn't it?
I believe it's officially out tomorrow.
On
Uh,
Netflix, or are they also doing it like
let's see. Uh, 2025 release. Oh, August 30th. Yeah, so it is out. It looks like it is on Netflix.
what came out
Um,
during the summer?
yeah, August 30th. So it's been out for like
This
apparently
is
quite a while. Although I
Guillermo del
saw,
Toro's movie.
yeah, although I did see like earlier in the week, I saw that it was opening, not opening, it was going to be available on the 7th of tomorrow.
Hmm.
Um, I already, though, I have heard it is somehow won an award for like, um, not just like a film award, but like a film and arts award for like pushing the boundaries of film and making it more art than
Hmm.
entertainment, which I find interesting. Again, someone out there, please Google that and confirm. I might very well be wrong on that, but yeah, I heard that. Kevin says saw it in theaters. Every shot slash scene is beautiful. Okay, so it's had a
And
theatrical release too.
yeah, so he saw it in August. You saw it in August, Kevin?
We'll see if he responds. I'm fascinated. I mean, yeah, I feel like though it's Guillermo. He's got to be into a theater, right? Like you can't
Hmm.
not. Um, I would think so. Um, yeah, on the end of Dracula. So I have a question for you then. Netflix put out in 2023, I think. They put out a show. It was 3 or 4 episodes, but every episode is like a film, um, or at least it's like an hour and a half in length. And it was called, I think it was just called Dracula. But they did sort of their own take on the myth. He was some sort of, definitely a vampire, some sort of immortal-ish creature. Very suave gentleman. The actor they had to portray him was fantastic. But I remember it being very interesting, but also very spooky in the way he operated. Um,
Hmm.
I was wondering if you'd seen that at all because it was a cool
No,
take.
no, I don't. I don't remember. I'm not even sure I remember it being out, but yeah, no, I haven't seen that one.
Well, when you're done watching Nosferatu after, uh, check it out if you're feeling the Dracula bite,
Hmm.
so to speak. And Kevin says he saw it in October. Wow.
Hmm. Interesting.
Well, all right. Now I feel like I've missed out. Hold on. There we go. What's my local theater there? It's just doing a Google. Love it. How do you decide what facial features you're going to show or draw in when it comes to any given character? Like for instance, the last show we did, were you working on? Um, oh, do forgive me. The title is escaping me, but the bunny character and the chocolate chip cookie. Um,
Oh, Cushing County.
Thank you, Cushing County.
Yeah.
When you're drawing obviously like a cartoony anthropomorphic creature, or cookie, as it were. Obviously, there's some different facial expressions, but like the outlines of the skull cavity that you have on the bottom left figure,
Hmm.
the top left figure where you've gotten some extreme lines to sort of etch in the idea. Um, I've noticed in your art, it the level of detail can be quite wildly different, obviously for what you're drawing, what you're suited for. But what makes you sort of pick and choose what details?
I mean, it's going to matter depending on um, what the lighting is like, right? Like if you're right now I'm not really thinking a whole lot about the lighting, so I'm just trying to like figure out like um, what are the basic forms, uh, like what's the form of the head, right? So you kind of it's I'm not drawing in the lines for that, but I'm imagining them in my head because I've drawn it so many times.
Oh, right on.
Sometimes you draw like little indicators of like where there's a difference of like where the planes change.
Okay.
And so like you don't have to the I think as you become a more adept artist, you learn that less is more, right? Like you can
Mm,
get away with drawing, leaving like open spaces, right? That's what I'm thinking about a bit here is like, do I need to, draw this here? Can I leave some of this open here and the eye will fill in the rest? Um, am I like if I were to make this light and airy, if I want to make him feel young, I'm not going to be necessarily drawing a lot of like lines for his face, like stuff like that, right? Because all of a
yeah.
sudden you start drawing stuff like that, you're aging the person. Even if and also the other thing too is I'm drawing in a very, I'm just using two values, black and white at this moment. As
Yeah.
soon as I start making it shaded with like lines like, like this, depending on how you do it, it can make the person look older,
Mm,
or it can make them, more, add an element of emotion into it that, you have to be able to control, right? So like, for example, if I decide, okay, I am going to start to fill in as if there's like a light source coming in this direction. So I'm going to start to like add in, right, the light on there. Well, like now I'm filling in any place where the light is not. And depending on if there's a secondary light source, let's say he's backlit a bit, there may be like uh, like a light source, a rim light coming from behind, right? So like there's so many decisions to make as you're um, drawing these characters.
mm.
Um, I'm currently drawing a hockey comic book, and
Yes.
one of the things it's Donnybrook, and so one of the things about Donnybrook, it's all on the ice. Well, a lot of it's on the ice, so it's like if you look at
Oh
any of the
God.
reference for the players, like photos or videos of like hockey players, because you have all this white that's bouncing all the light from the light,
Yeah.
right? They're so with the exception of like the value of what they're wearing, there's not a lot of like shadow,
Yeah, because they're
right?
so like oversaturated in light.
Right. There's all this bounced light coming from all
Huh.
direction. So even when you look at like the any if there's any shadow coming from um like there's a light coming down and there should be a shadow coming down where their form is onto the ice. It's so light, like it's a reflection essentially, right? So you have to either fake it a bit or you have to imagine like I mean, a photo or like a camera is going to, you can change it with a camera. You can make it look more dramatic with a camera because, the amount of light coming in through the aperture, right? So it'll
Mhm.
make it darker or lighter and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just, like it's for me, just for whatever reason, I'm like, as I'm drawing these characters and scenes, it's like, well, there's not a lot of bounce, there's not a lot of shadow, so I'm gonna have to decide if I want to fake it a bit in some places to make it more dramatic, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these are choices you make when you're if you're trying to manipulate your audience in regards to like whatever emotional state you want them to be in as they're reading your book. You want them to feel certain things, so you may have to fake certain things to make it work. You just have to
Yeah.
try to be consistent about it, right? Like, if there's a light source, you want to try to be consistent with the light source. But obviously, if you can, I always just like, um, if it's more interesting to like have like a rim light behind the person, even if there wasn't technically a rim light, because if you think about movies and TV shows, they all fake it anyway, right?
Oh God,
They
yeah.
they put in extra light so that you can see the facial feature of the person speaking, right? So that they're bouncing some kind of light from some other source that isn't naturally there,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I
So,
Yeah, there's another show on, well, it's not just YouTube, but there's another show. It's basically these VFX guys, and they look at various shots from different movies, and they break down how they did this stuff, which I think
mhm,
is fascinating. But yeah, they really touched on it where they were like, "Oh, so here's how they probably did it," and then they got like behind the scenes footage, and yeah, like you have this dark room, and yet this person's face is fairly well lit. Like, yeah, that in real life it doesn't exist. Just
mhm.
like you're dealing with on the hockey ice where there's just too much light. Yeah, being able to fake it, like I said, to show that emotional range or elicit that feeling, solid work.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, what are you drawing here, Keith?
Oh, this person here. This is like a gypsy woman. So she's got this weird kind of hair. It's kind of like, actually, it's almost like braided.
Mm,
She's wearing like a hood and wearing this, yeah, like kind of a very, I don't even know if it's a hood as much as like it's like a weird kind of bonnet type thing. Yeah, since I got very quick glimpses of like what they were, I'd have to like go back and actually pause it to
yeah, well, yeah.
study, like how some of these things, like this bonnet here, she had like it was tied in a weird way here, and then it was tied around her neck in a weird way. She was like wearing, like, sir, they're all very intricately designed that I'm not sure exactly. I'm like trying to figure out like how the neck
Oh, the
tie,
kerchief thing,
yeah,
yeah.
works, because it's like you'd almost have to like put it on yourself to kind of see how it worked, right? They're all very just intricately made and very different from the way we wear things, right? We like things
Oh,
loose
yeah.
and easy, and they
Ah,
were all about like confined, and I don't know if it was some kind of like a punishment or something for them to wear like all this like really intricate, or it's just the style of like to make it a little bit more interesting for the viewer of the show or the movie.
hmm. Keith, I absolutely love how you start drawing something that's like large-ish, and then yeah, you're like, all right, cool, we're done with that little sketch. Grab it, shrink it, move it away.
Hmm.
Love that. What's the most like chaotically full you've ever had a page of sketches like this?
What's the what?
Like the most full uh, page of sketches you've done like this, where you're sort of tunneling yourself into different drawings.
Oh, probably nothing crazy. I mean, it's not like um, I've never been like, let's see how many drawings I can like fit into a page of, because I can keep on going digitally. I can keep on shrinking this down further and further and further. Now the problem is, if I blow it back up again, it's kind of like degenerative a little bit. So
Oh,
uh,
interesting. I didn't know it would do that.
yeah, so it's not it's the one thing about working in Photoshop versus Illustrator, or a program that is it's Pixel versus algorithmic, right? So an algorithmic program is based on, it's mathematical. So everything, no matter how big or small you get, it doesn't lose any kind of quality.
Yeah.
Whereas pixel based like Photoshop will lose quality. So
Right. Huh.
so you have to be aware, like if you work large to small, and then you want to you shrink it down, the art down, and then you're like, oh shoot, there's something I want to draw again, and you make it large. You've actually it's now you can see it's a bit blurry, right? So you have to, if you're going to do something like that, you always want to have like a saved version of the normal size that you're working in, so you can just go back to that and not worry about losing like any kind of quality. It's one of the, so I think way back I was talking about like working comic book size as opposed to
Yes.
working 11 by 17. Well, I've gone back to working 11 by 17 again. And one of the reasons why, and I may go back to like with the Christian County, I was working comic size. It just worked better for whatever reason. It just felt like it just, it if I were to go into, there's not a lot of detail. There's not a lot of detail in that stuff. So it just made sense for me to work comic sized throughout the whole process. But with like some of the more intricate drawings, I realized that like with like stuff that's a little bit more like the last saltwater, I worked
Mhm.
larger again because I was like, I don't have the capability to really get in there and draw some of these details I want to, without,
Oh, okay.
right. And again, it's all just, it's maybe I'll go back to comic for everything again, but like it's one of those things where um, having the ability to go in and really flesh something out, it's a little bit easier when it's larger, right? And the other thing with comic size that I recognize, so with something larger, I have the ability to, um, as I said, if I want to shrink something down,
Hmm.
um, and then make it a little bit bigger again, because I know ultimately it's going to get shrunk down to comic size. It's not, you're not going to see that quality loss, but with a
Oh, okay.
comic book size, you do. If I wanted to make something larger there, you can see it. I almost have to redraw it. Whereas here, if I make something larger, if I decide, let's say I'm drawing this and this guy, and I want him bigger in a panel, right? So there's going to be a bit of loss, and it's going to be just a bit fuzzy,
Hmm.
um, but it's going to shrink down, and you won't be able to see it. So you can hide some of those things easier, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ah, okay. I see what you're going for. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So it was anyway. It's just I think your original question is you know being able to like keep on drawing um, infinitely on a page.
Pretty
And
much.
then
Yeah.
like a sketchbook, I'm not really good at. There's some people that use sketchbooks in just amazing ways. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but they really know how to make a sketchbook like almost like an artistic, like something of art, where they really design the sketch, each
Yeah.
illustration they do. It's just really well laid out and rendered and stuff. I've never done, I haven't been that good at that. So, like with my travel sketchbooks, I do that a bit. But yeah, like usually there's some people that just fill and fill and fill every little space, and it just
Oh, yeah. Those.
looks great. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, it just looks really good. So,
Especially the to me, what makes that specifically impressive is it could be so easy if you didn't really think about what you were doing, or rather have it be a consistent style. It would be very easy for that to just look like an overwhelming cacophony of lines. But
mhm,
when you can take a sketchbook like that and fill it so wonderfully that it just explodes when you open it and it has all this great art that's packed everywhere,
mhm.
I think that probably is a very special touch.
Yeah.
So here's a weird one for you, and I was thinking about it earlier. Um, when how to phrase this? Okay, oftentimes we've talked about how you draw stuff that you're maybe not 100% sure about, and you go grab a reference, right? And you can look at the reference, figure it out.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
a horse, for instance, you might go grab a picture of a horse and draw a horse from the picture
Yeah.
because there's a lot of weird anatomy that we physically as humans don't have that horses have.
Mhm.
Um, Weird question. Is there anything that you've learned about uh, whether it's mechanics, biology, musculature of an animal or of a person that you came to through art that you thought was really interesting?
You mean like, well, yeah, I guess so. Like I guess one of the things I've always been kind of fascinated by was with like how like the an animal will use like if they have four legs, how they move the legs.
Oh
Like
yeah,
how they you'll see like they'll like and they'll change it up. Like so like you see like a dog going from like alternating its legs to like when it goes runs, it's almost like it basically just uses the front leg paw, legs and paws to move itself, and the back will come, almost meet the front ones, right? So
yeah, they actually like do that almost.
yeah,
Where they're it's
it changes to like something like this, and actually some dogs will almost like have their back legs in forward, right? Like that's kind of a really cool kind of thing. I was just watching like a another like animal, like rabbits, I guess would do that too, but like like I was watching this I guess some kind of competition with these dogs that were running back and forth over
oh yeah.
like their jumps. They had to jump and then they bounced off of like this like wedge and went back and forth. And this one dog, it was basically the note on the GIF or the video was like, wait till the end. And so you're seeing these dogs go back and forth, and you're going, whoa, they're going really fast. And then you see this little dog basically running towards, and then it starts to like slow it down. So you can see like how long
Oh,
it's jumping. And I'm going, why are they making it? Why are they doing that? I wanted to see what the dog looked like fast first, but actually, when it hit the wedge to uh, go back, it went from like taking steps in between each of the long um, uh, like hurdles.
okay,
So
yeah.
like you saw it actually jump on. It jumped almost from the wedge onto the first hurdle, and then it was like jumped all the way to the second hurdle. Like it was
Oh my
actually like
god.
it looked like it was almost flying because
That's
it
so
had gotten
cool.
so much air that it was like it no longer needed to. It was so efficient. It no longer needed any extra steps between the hurdles, where the other dogs were like you would see them kind of like one or two steps between each hurdle
Yeah.
and then jumping over. This dog was using the hurdle to keep making it fly in the air. So it was incredible. Like it was just so yeah, like something like that's like really cool to watch, to study, to go, okay, dogs can almost fly when certain dogs get fast enough.
Oh
And they
yeah.
get like it's kind of like watching somebody like parkour, like off of something, and then they get enough momentum that where they can like bounce up a wall or like
Oh
jump
yeah, that stuff is
really
so cool.
far and then roll when they land and stuff. So um yeah, so I guess that's the thing with animals that kind of interests me, that I wouldn't have just learned unless I was like studying them, is like how their gaits move depending on how fast or slow they're going.
Right on. That is, yeah, that is so cool. I've seen videos of that where yeah, it's usually like one or two speed bumps, sort of hurdles between. Then they've got that slanted wedge board, and I've seen some of them where they have like a tennis ball or something they have to grab off of the board and then jet back. And yeah, that is so cool that this dog was able to do that and sort of launch itself and keep moving. Wow.
So I'm just right now what I'm doing, if people are wondering, is I'm essentially trying to, I mean, the exception of like some of these characters that I've drawn, I'm trying to draw everything. I've only seen the first like 20 or 30 minutes. So I'm really just trying to like recreate what I remember seeing. Right.
Hmm.
So this is a good exercise in regards to like um, using your own um, memory as like a library, right? Where you can, when you start to practice it, when you start to actually pay attention to what you're looking at and trying to, and as it probably helps if you draw along, Like, so I'm actually,
Yeah.
because I've been, like I drew some of these characters very quickly. Now drawing them again, I've retained the first time I did it as like as a reference. Now these are like the drawings and my memory are references of each other.
Oh,
Um,
right on.
so, like now it's just me trying to see if I can keep on pushing that, and some of this stuff I didn't even draw, but I'm seeing if I can like um, do it, get a bit further, uh, from that memory that I had, right? So um, it's just a good way for
Oh,
you to remember stuff so that then you now have access to it. So to your question before about like, oh, you use reference when you're not sure of something, well, I mean, if you want to be technical, this is all reference from my memory of something I'd watched or I was watching, right? So I'm using a reference of something that like the how that hat was really big and fuzzy on his head. Like it was really like it actually, this brush works really well because the things he was wearing were like super like fuzzy. It was like a bear or something,
oh,
right?
cool.
So like it wasn't chopped short. Like it wasn't like a felt. It was like a almost a hairy, um, like big. I don't know what these things are called. Cap on his head. Um, but yeah, it's just a great way for you to kind of like to like another thing was trying to recreate like, okay, so one guy was wearing this really intricate, he still had his like tie around his neck, and then he had like this coat that was coming up above his ears, or yeah, above the lower part of his ear, right? So it's kind of a cool to figure out, okay, and then it kind of folded over, and it was like this. So I'm trying to remember, right? Because then I can use this for something later,
Oh, yeah.
right? It's a cool kind of like just practicing of your own uh, to build your own reference library, right?
Hmm.
And then of course, I just because I'm a bit insecure about it, I would probably see if I can find the reference just to make sure I'm like, okay, how close am I to this? Like, oh, I forgot this detail, so I'm going to add this, or I didn't draw it exactly the way it is, and the way I'm drawing it works better, so I'm going to keep it, right? So I'm not going to change it, but it isn't quite accurate. Whatever you're doing, but you're essentially trying to do as much without the physical reference in front of you, and then accessing whatever you can't remember, so that you can you know when you actually look at the real reference, then you can like you're not a slave to it. Essentially, you're
Yeah.
you're not beholden to whatever, because anything you take, I've said this before, anything you use from like anything from like internet or your own photo, it's going to be warped. It's not accurate as to like what's the correct way that something would be in front of you, right? So
Yeah, the reality of it.
yeah, so you want to make sure that you're drawing, you're building your structure and form properly, and then using the reference as a guide to make sure you have um, the as detailed as you want it to be, right?
Oh, definitely. Now, have you, maybe you haven't noticed, or maybe it's not something that can be noticed, but do you find that because of a lifetime of being an artist and wanting to build that sort of mental reference library, um, the way that you pay attention to things and the stuff that you pick up, have you ever noticed if it's different than what other people might see, like non-artist folks?
I think so. Like when it comes to color, I find that like and this is a skill that I learned when I was painting in my youth. So when you start to look at things and go, one example that stands out is how snow reflects color, and so um, you can see like like if you see snow early in the morning or later in the evening with like different lights shining on it, it's not white, it's blues and purples and yellows and all these
Huh.
different myriad. But if you were to ask somebody what color is that, they would go, it's white, even though
Yeah.
even though if I'm looking at it and I'm seeing these hues and values of different color that tell me it's not really white, right?
Huh.
So what it is essentially is your brain is telling you something that it knows what it is, right? Like you when you look at like a piece of fruit or like a car or something, like you it's blue, but you may go, well, it's not quite blue. It's actually like more of an aquamarine, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you pick up like people don't necessarily have the vocabulary and or they don't see it, right? They don't see the thing. If you see something that, the only way they know that there's something may not be the color they think it is if they have like a paint chip, like one of those things that tell them, like this is an off white, but to them they can't see that it's really that off, right? They don't
Yeah,
know.
exactly. I don't
they
pick it
they
up.
don't know. Like another example would be like shade values, right? Some people, when you start to see what um, value of certain things are, especially when you look at it in black and white and grayscale,
Mm.
you kind of get a sense of something that is darker than you think or lighter than you think, right? Like there's all different color theory too. There's all different types of
Oh.
things that happen when colors are put next to each other. It changes the way that the color is. A lot of it's scientific. Like I don't exactly understand. Like I was just watching something the other day, and I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody was saying a blue jay isn't actually blue, but blue for some reason can't technically exist in nature. I have to look it up because it wasn't sure. The way they were explaining it wasn't exactly making complete sense, but there was some interesting things that were happening when you shone a light through the blue jay's feather. It became brown. So it's like, oh, well, that's interesting, right? So
Yes. Sorry. It is called structural coloration.
yes,
So basically, microscopic structures in their feathers scatter blue wavelengths of light, which is why they appear blue, because it's what we see, making them look blue to our eyes, while the underlying pigment is brown or grayish.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Blow your mind, right?
Yes.
So color is a very tricky thing because your eye and brain tell you one thing, but in the reality of it may be different.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like the what is it? The yellow and purple dress
Right.
that right like that whole thing. And
It
for the
was, yeah,
folks
it was
watching,
gold. Was it gold or blue?
yes, that's it. Um yeah, for the folks watching, look up like is the dress gold or blue, and you will likely see a video clip or a GIF showing basically a picture of a dress, and someone's in Photoshop or some other similar program. They take a dot of the specific color and they drag it over to where the page is blank. It's just a white canvas, and they'll watch the color change. Well, it hasn't changed. It's just in different context. Is wild. Um,
And
yeah.
also people see it differently. That was the bigger thing. Some people
Oh,
would, right? I think there was a shoe as an example, right? It was like, is this shoe blue or is this shoe gold? And like half the people would be like, it's blue, and then half would be gold. And so it was one of those things where I think again, people must have like different perceptions. They see things, their eye, like it could be like the amount of cones and rods that people have in their eyes that may cause them to see certain things, or the shape of their, like the shape of their eyeball or something that may change like what they're seeing a subtle way so that they're um, not seeing it the same way another person would see it, right?
yeah.
And then, of course, you're dealing with people, like another thing is color blindness, right?
Yep.
I think I've talked about this on, I'm sure he's okay with it. I won't mention his name, but somebody I went to school with, He and I were in a painting class drawing eggplant, and I was, it's I believe it's purples and reds and blues and things like that, green, right, for the stem. And then I'm looking at his, and he's using orange and reds, and it was like a completely different color profile. And I'm going, well, I
Interesting.
look at him and I go, that's a pretty interesting take on this. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, just like you decided to paint your eggplant with a different color scheme, right? Which that's initially what I thought he was doing, because I'm looking at
Yeah.
it going, it was working. It was just like, it was like oranges and yellows and reds, right? And so, like almost like on the other side of the spectrum. And so, um, he stopped painting, looked at mine, then looked around the room, and he goes, I think I'm colorblind. And it was that moment he discovered he saw color differently than everybody else. And this is like
Really?
must have been a 19 or 20-year-old kid, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, like it's just color is interesting. Color, dogs
Yeah.
don't, it's not that they see in black and white, they just see color. They have different configurations of like rods and cones and stuff, so that the way that they see color, certain colors are pretty muted to them, and then certain colors are like very vibrant to them. And so,
Yeah.
like, if you were to throw something in grass, I think like greens and things like that are they can't really discern different colors in that.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
had something like if you were to throw like a yellow ball,
Yep.
which they can see, into a green grass, they can it. So it's just a matter of like having pet toy designers do things certain colors, knowing, let's say, if you're going to throw it in the grass and the grass is a certain color, that it has to be, the toy has to be a certain color, because otherwise dogs won't see it. They'll just keep on looking
Right
for
on
it.
past it. Yeah.
Or like birds, I think, again, another example is that they can see outside of this color spectrum that we can, right? So they can see like I think they can see like the ultraviolets and
Yep. Yeah. They get into
um,
ultraviolet and something else. Yeah. It's
yeah,
really cool though.
yeah,
But yeah, I on the dog end of it, I believe it's blues and yellows, which interestingly enough, the very popular children's show character. Oh, I've been told a number of adults actually watch it too, so I've been curious. But the show Bluey,
right.
um, ironically, people have filmed their dogs watching the show because it is a blue and yellow dog-ish creature. So apparently, dogs quite like the show.
Hmm. Yeah. So
Fascinating.
yeah,
Yeah, man, color's weird. Like our eyes are weird.
but
So
color too. Color does really interesting things to. It's depending on the atmosphere and the angle it's at and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's why when we have um, sun setting and rising, all these colors come out, because it's the angle,
oh yeah.
it's the light like refracting um, um, at a certain the you know basically light what would happen, and I'm probably messing this up quite a bit, but light is different, like if you think of like RGBIV, right, where it's that's made of, those are all light waves, right? And so their certain light waves are longer,
Yep.
certain shorter. And so depending on the angle of the sun, the light coming down, it'll either absorb or it'll bounce back
Hmm.
certain light and then or color. And so that's why we get like all those purples and blues. And then if there's like an atmosphere, like little particles in the atmosphere, those are going to refract the light in a certain way, so that you now see all these really beautiful colors, right? It's a really interesting kind of thing. So, like the same thing with like when you think of like the ocean, with the a very blue ocean. It's just all the blue being absorbed, I believe. Everything bounce, or is it the opposite? I always forget. But
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
really.
The what is it? The sky. I believe this the sky is blue because it's reflecting the color of the deep ocean, or maybe it's vice versa. Um, Yeah, I definitely remember one of them is reflecting the other, and that's why we see the color that we see for it, which is wild to think about. Um, Also, interesting tidbit I had heard from a clip from Neil deGrasse Tyson. Apparently, if you are laying on a beach or I suppose any landmass with a good sight line of sight to the horizon, as the sun peaks down and you see the sunrise or the sunset, apparently, if you are to stand rather abruptly, you can see it again because the average height of like 5'10" or whatever it um, is just enough that you can catch it twice, which I think is interesting.
Hmm.
Um, I've never tested it, mind you, but I tend to believe things like that he says because yeah, he does fun stuff. Now, earlier, Keith, the woman in the hood who is I don't know what perspective is, but is facing away from the camera.
Yeah.
Because we got about 9 minutes left, so I figured it's a fun question to ask. Um, how do you go about drawing someone from that perspective? Um, as accurately as you have because it all looks correct in my brain when I see it. I'm like, oh, that's a person they're facing away. But like when trying to imagine, okay, what details you have to draw to do that? What's sort of the Keith Grachow, my sketchy goodness cheat codes to drawing someone not looking directly at you and not in side profile?
Draw it lots and lots of times.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I mean, there. So essentially, like if you think about um, the head, right, from the front, like there's. I'm just very quickly, like there's. It's like kind of like an oval or like an egg shape that's cut off on the sides. Well, okay, so now let's take that to the side, and it's essentially like almost like a square. Your head is like a square. You got your neck and stuff like that, right? So again, very quickly drawing. Well, now you have if you take like a 3/4 view of it, whether it's forward or backward, you're either going to be shaving some of that square to make it a little bit more towards the egg shape, right? So it's kind of like a square in perspective if you want to think about it this way, right? So um, it's going to you're going to get like if it's from the front, you're going to see like the ear in perspective, and you're going to see most of the front of the face, right? That kind of thing. Now, if it's let's say it's from the back, it's almost the same thing, but it's like instead of seeing most of the face, you're really you're seeing most of the back of the head. So you're still seeing the ear, but you're seeing the back of the ear, and now you're just seeing like a bit of the front of the face. All right. So to answer your question, I kind of have drawn this enough times to know, like, and it just depends on the exact angle. Like if this is more of like a almost a 3/4, but it's almost direct. It's almost like a full back shot. You know,
Yep.
you may see a bit
Seven
of the
eighths
ear.
back shot.
Yeah, you may see a bit of the ear on both on one side, and then fully. Then on this side, you're not going to necessarily see. You're going to see like the cheekbone, any of the bones, like the brow bone, the cheekbone. You're going to have like the neck part, like underneath the bit of the the chin, right? You're going to see a bit of that.
Mhm.
What I was drawing was probably so you're seeing the side of her face a bit more. So I wanted to be able to get it so we can, let's say we're seeing the side of her face. We see. Yeah, this is like it's not quite a side view, but it's getting pretty close to a side view of the head, right? So we're
Yeah.
not we're not seeing, it's not completely um, you know the nose. So like the cheekbones, depending on the person, some are quite pronounced. So if it's quite pronounced, you're going to see they're going to come out a little bit more. The lips they may be completely hidden, or you may see them a little bit. You're looking. You may see like the bit of the eyelid, right?
Yeah,
So
right on.
again, it just and then you're gonna the hairline, right? So and then she's wearing her hoodie. So there you go. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just practice. You just kind of and I'm not saying even this is completely accurate. Again, I'm a little bit insecure when it comes to that stuff. So if it's not something I'm 100% sure of, I'll just like kind of use a reference just to verify that I'm getting like the places where where you can see. It's really more the details that I'm more concerned with than the actual structure. I'm like, okay, is there going to be a bit of like a light coming? So where would we see the light? So like that kind of stuff. Anyway, yeah,
Love it.
so,
The fact that you're like, I'm not really, I'm a little insecure about this, and you're just absolutely like modeling it out like a textbook. I'm like, all right,
yeah.
Keith. All right.
I mean, there's a difference between this is very rough versus if I were to finish it. I just want to make sure the detail would be correct if I were to finish it. And again, it depends on like what I'm trying to achieve. If it's like a small drawing, if you can't see it very well, I'm not going to like fret over like the details if they're not exactly accurate, because somebody really won't be able to see it. But if it's like a close up, I want to make sure I get it right.
Oh, yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, Keith, with the handful of minutes we've got left, um, let the people know where you're going to be in the next couple months, and where to follow you online.
So our next show is MCX, Mississauga Comics Expo, in Mississauga Library. I want to say that is on the
Sweet.
15th of November, Saturday, from like 10 to 5 or something like that. Then I've got in December, I have my Comic One Book annual holiday signing. It's the store in Stony Creek on the 13th of December. And that one, I go back there every year. It's kind of like my friends that I hang out with, but I'll do like drawings and sell my comics and stuff.
Right on.
And yeah, just on my socials, I'm on Facebook and Instagram mainly. So it's just Keith Grachow.
Beauty. Love it. And yeah, I'm on the MCX site here, and it looks like you're a part of a sketch challenge on Saturday.
Oh yeah. What time?
Sweet.
I can't remember. Is it like at 3 in the afternoon or something? Or
All it says on the website here. I'm gonna take your Photoshop off for a second, and
yeah, sometime during the day. I'm part of
little sketch challenge. That's really cool.
yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So some good people are part of that.
Very much so.
Yeah, so I'll be there for the day doing the sketch challenge, and then also have a table, and I'll be bringing Cushing County and Summer on the Swing and Saltwater 6 will be the latest things I've got on my table. So.
Oh my god. All right. That's awesome. I need to see about getting myself out there. Oh my god.
And
That's
it's free.
fantastic.
It's free for everybody.
Yeah,
So it's free. So you can just go and spend all your money on all the different creators that have books and posters and all that stuff.
love it. Yes, absolutely. That is what people should do. And for the folks there on YouTube land or perhaps in Instagram world, please do like, comment what you think of the show, what you thought of Keith's drawings, if you learned anything. The next time we're live, feel free to drop questions. Keith will field them expertly, and I will fumble through them, I am sure. But otherwise, Keith, absolutely, thank you so much.